guys might want to hear the sound in this. Adjust it a little bit. But our next game on the card is Hermitage, Strange Case Files. And again, this is a visual novel. And this just recently released. It is available on PC, Nintendo Switch, PlayStation 4, PlayStation 5, Xbox One, and Xbox Series X and S. I'm going to turn this down a little bit because it is really loud in my ear. But I would like to go ahead and take the time to thank the developer and publisher of Hermitage, Strange Case Files for providing me with a free copy of the game to play on tonight's stream. As I have stated before, there is a trigger warning with this game, so let me go ahead and let you all know that the following game, Hermitage, Strange Case Files, contains one or more of the following subjects: violence, abuse, drug use, blood and gore, sexual themes, strong language, and mental health struggles, and therefore may not be suitable for some viewers. So viewers' discretion is advised when watching this. But we are going to play 15 minutes of this because, like I said earlier, I did record some of this for YouTube, and I did like a 20-minute video, so we're just going to pick up right where I left off. So I do apologize for those of you that are coming into this and you're kind of not knowing what's going on. I can kind of give you a little bit of what's going on to bring you up to date where we're at. Basically, Hermitage is a bookstore that deals with certain types of books and cases and things like that. And so we are currently we are in this storyline where this young girl who goes to like this prestigious private school has strolled into the shop, and she ended up picking up a book because she's having this reoccurring nightmare of her best friend dying in a terrible way. And so she grabbed this book to see if she could find out why and things like that. And so we're trying to get to the bottom of that. And so we're playing pretty much the store manager of the bookstore, or he's either the manager or he works there. And that's who we're kind of playing as. But this is a visual novel. Like I said, I'm only going to do 15 minutes of this. Of course, the 15 minutes starts once I hit resume game and the game actually starts up. But we're going to do 15 minutes of this, and then we will move on to our next game. So let us go ahead and jump into this. And the only reason I'm doing 15 minutes is because I don't want to read a lot. That is the only reason I am doing 15 minutes of this. So, and this is where I left off. So okay, don't worry. Just tell me about how you felt when it first happened. What was the first thing that went through your mind? And the store manager is talking about the nightmare that she keeps having, by the way. Cecilia thinks it over and opens her mouth to say something, but then shuts it again. She stays silent for almost a whole minute. Well, I think I was flying. Flying? So it feels as if you're flying through the air. No, it feels like flying. But I don't have any sense of self. I can observe everything from above. But my perspective certainly isn't from heaven. The only reason I say it that way is so I can describe it somehow. Last time, I saw the city's famous Riverside viewing platform. A group of panicked people came running from the north, right towards the people on the viewing platform. Luckily, security guards were nearby to handle the situation and prevent a mass panic. The people were shaken up and looked like they'd seen a ghost. They looked really frightened, all the same. They were such a small group that they were lost in the gigantic crowd of people. Hardly anyone noticed the uproar, and on the other side of the viewing platform, everyone simply carried on as usual. It's really scary how you can feel isolated and unsafe, even when you're out in public and surrounded by so many people. Afterwards, I went to take a look at the place on my own. The surrounding streets and buildings were all familiar to me. They were just like in that dream. Even the street signs were the same. It's hard to imagine that without having seen it for yourself. I've seen bizarre scenarios play out in my mind before, but until the visions of my friend, I never thought about actively researching what I've seen. I often lose track of time when I have those visions. I have no sense of self, no Cecile. It's just one big blur of everything. Cecile describes the situation as if it were a good thing. I'm surprised she isn't smiling, but with how happy she is. However, as soon as my focus shifts, I quickly lose that state of mind. The same as with the real dream. By the time I start to question whether or not I am myself, I'm already in a more conscious state, and it's only a matter of time before I return to reality. Well, at least you return to your senses at some point. A dream that can even put the fact in question is more than bizarre. Even if I wanted help from someone, I'd have a hard time explaining it to them. I really appreciate you taking the time to listen to me. I'm very grateful. She bows her head and already sounds less tense. Talking is really important. I've never been very sociable, too awkward, I guess. But I see where you're coming from. Anyway, I just want to understand what I see. After all, if my friend is really in danger, I need to find a way to help her. Do you think I'm naive for wanting to find out whether my dream is real or not? Of course not. In fact, you're being so calm right now is remarkable. Let's take a small break. Do you want another cup of coffee? Cecilia leaves Hermitage before the sun goes down. The hand she was holding the hot coffee with was ice cold, which I find difficult to comprehend. After Cecilia's departure, the bookstore falls back into its usual cycle. Only the books that are askew on the shelves show any indication that something happened here. Though, to be honest, it's probably more organized than before. Still, there's a lot of work to be done. I should analyze the information I have so far. It completely depends on how much Cecile is willing to tell me. We agreed to discuss it further tomorrow, but if she chooses to give up, there's nothing more I can do. Instead of worrying about that right now, I should focus my mind on the matter at hand. Stay calm and collected and take plenty of notes. That's what experience has taught me over the years. Even strange events that cannot be explained, common sense often follow some kind of logic. As long as there is sufficient information, I can draw conclusions. As more conclusions are drawn, an analysis of the events can be constructed. Wow. It's something I like to call the principle of reasoning. The things I see look so real, I can nearly reach out and touch them. Normally, my imagination isn't as vivid. That's why I started memorizing the things I saw. How else would I ever be able to prove that they're real? Presumed, isn't he? I write down a question. Although her ideas sound somewhat naive, there's nothing inherently wrong. The problem is how to prove it. Even if Cecile finds matches between the dream and reality, there's no actual solid proof. People often get a sense of deja vu, and this experience, known as the sense of being present, has its own plausible explanation in science. In times of emotional instability, the frequency of deja vu experiences is increased. That might not be all, and it's too simple an explanation, but when under stress, it's easy for the brain to mess up one of its delicate processes. The viewing platform Cecile mentioned is a pretty well-known sightseeing spot, so even if the architecture there gives her a sense of familiarity. Gives her a sense of familiarity. Because of her vision, there's still no real verification. I am having a hard time pronouncing that word. Wow. Mind, words, having hard times. Past memories can often interfere subconsciously with illusion. She might have seen the place somewhere before. To answer this question, I can't really rely solely on Cecile's one-sided information. The assumption that she didn't have any relevant knowledge beforehand can only be confirmed by a third party. I should take notes on what else she said she saw. The ancient battlefield, gatherings at the square. These scenes are bizarre enough, and there seems to be no explanation for them. The big fire she mentioned worries me as well. Considering the difficulty of the investigation, I only have a limited number of options left. Those things happening at Phoenix High School, riots at the Riverside Music platform. That's all the information I can confirm so far. It's puzzling either way, but at least I can try. There are more down-to-earth approaches to understanding what's happening in the city. If possible, I want to avoid involving any innocent bystanders. When I was conducting research on folklore in the remote countryside, I heard a lot about supernatural dreams. There's a world of difference between an innocent high school student and witches. It's obvious that Cecile has already convinced herself of an answer to all of this, but trying to actually prove it is something much more difficult altogether. The sky outside has already turned completely dark and I didn't notice. The lightning inside Hermitage isn't optimal, but better than nothing. I turn off the dim lights on the ground floor, which hold more symbolic than actual value, lock the shop door, and make my way to the apartment. There's no one around. I finally have some time to think. What a weird dream. She would have had no reason to lie to me if she was just quarreling with blood. Normal people probably don't believe in dreaming about the past, much less that it could actually be proven. As I just explained to Cecile, it wouldn't make sense to lie like she did, so what she said has to be true. However, it's no surprise that she's worried about a dream in which her schoolmate is in trouble. The situation is pretty unclear. I should find out more about what she heard and seen. Okay, so this is the case that we're on. In her dream, Cecile saw a wonderful scene. Cecile believes that they aren't just mere illusions, but how can we prove it? The illusion of nothing to do. Looks like we can think some more, or is it gonna just repeat the same thing? There's no one around. Okay, yeah. Okay, so we have already gone through this, so we don't need to do this again. I mean, I suppose I could put this in, like the illusion of nothing to do. The illusion Cecile had was far beyond ordinary. Along with rising sun properties, many people rushed from the north to the viewing point. I could clearly see the expression on their faces. So I guess we finish work. Yeah, I can't do the bookshelf, so we finish work. It is now nighttime. Hermitage's interior architecture isn't exactly convenient. To get from the storefront in the living room, you need to circle around the outside of the building and walk up the first floor. If you continue further up, you'll reach the warehouse on the second floor of the house. But that doesn't concern me. My daily walks between these 2 points are strenuous. It's my substitute for daily exercise. The apartment is far from neat, but I'm not the kind of person who can live in a place where every quote is folded into a perfect square. I check my shoes off at the entrance and let myself fall head first onto the comfortable, soft sofa. I've been really lazy the last couple of months. Loving the comfy, secluded lifestyle. Nothing's going to change if I myself don't. I really don't need to get back into my groove and find some form of a daily routine. I really do need, okay. Unfortunately, I don't get paid for doing overtime. Okay, so I could start by taking notes throughout the day. Maybe it'll help me collect my thoughts and get back on track. Every event has its own origin, cause, and effect. The terrible scene that Cecile saw is undoubtedly related to the school. I need to investigate further on this basis. This computer is quite old, so you can't do anything with it except access the internet. Some topics can start a lot of rumors that need to be watched. TV on the second floor is an old model with a curved screen. A lot of information is hidden in the local news that most people may overlook. I can't rest now, there's no time to waste. I promised to help, so I have to take this seriously. Let's see if there's anything new. We'll do the internet. And then once we do this is probably going to end the gameplay for this one. So we will save. I have to stay in this building right by the bookstore for various reasons. There are good and bad sides to it. One good thing is that I'm always surrounded by information, readily accessible in the form of books. And yes, I know it's the 21st century, where you probably even have good reception on the top of Mount Everest. As I turn on the computer, the familiar yellow light of the forum's interface appears in front of me. The users here voice their opinions very openly in order to reflect their wide-ranging knowledge or simply to have some fun. It's given the administration one heck of a headache, but I still sit back and enjoy it. Having said that, the forum has its own problem. There's a maintenance every 5 minutes, the layout is a mess, the moderators quarrel all the time. It's hard to count all the issues. Being so polaris in terms of user experience and content value is spectacular in every sense. That might have been spectacle. I'm sorry, it's hard. That's why I was like, yeah, visual novels, I like to do those by myself. There's always something new and unexpected going on, and the community stays very active. Let's see what I can dig up here today. This is a forum about urban legends. The content will be updated automatically. I like how we are on a Mac, because that's the Mac's window. That's Safari's window. After browsing the post, I can return to the list of posts here. If I feel like I've gathered all necessary information, I can close the page here. As I've gathered intelligence, I should read all of today's posts. Okay. Murder case. It has nothing to do with the current situation, but I should keep an eye on it nevertheless. Oh, and it looks like we are at the end of this, so we're gonna save. Going to save in the spots 3. And you get you get up to 42 or 44 slots that you can save this in. So. But we are going to save it there. We are going to return to the menu. And again, that is Hermitage, Strange Case Files. So if you are a visual novel fan, and like this one is kind of on the spooky side a bit. But if you are into visual novels, then I would say go ahead and give this one a try yourself. I tend to like visual novels. It's just they don't really, for me, because I'm not like a voice actor or actress or anything like that, they don't tend to, I don't tend to do them very big justice. But I do enjoy reading visual novels on my own because it's almost like reading a manga, you know, and that's how I always look at it. It's like an interactive manga. But if you are interested in Hermitage, Strange Case Files, again, this one is available on PC, Nintendo Switch, PlayStation 4, PlayStation 5, Xbox One, and the Xbox Series X and S, and it is going for, I believe, $19.99 USD, but I think it is currently on sale. So again, if you like what you saw of this visual novel, please go ahead and click on the link there. That will get you to the link to all of the platforms that it is available on. Again, I do believe this one may be on sale. It just came out on the 26th of October. But again, a very big thank you to the developer and publisher of Hermitage Strange Case Files for providing me with a free copy of the game.